Happy New Year. We're going to make it kind of breezy today because I know you all got stuff going on, places you want to be, stuff you probably shouldn't be doing, places you probably shouldn't be going. Because ain't nothing out there for you in them streets at this time of the evening. Anyway, fam, listen. To those of you who are there, thank you for being here this New Year's evening. Like I said, we're going to try to keep it breezy and try to give lessons and then take a few phone calls because I want to hear from you. We're talking about what the New Year's resolutions should look like. What should American DOS, not in general, I want to lose 5 pounds. I'm not talking about your specific health resolution. I'm talking about what we've been doing here on this show. Like in terms of how that manifests or how that should manifest in your life. I have some thoughts as I do. We do this on New Year's. We've done it. We did it once before. And I think that what we have to do, we have to not only do this, but we have to have some stick-to-itiveness. So let's get started. Get your libations. It is New Year's Eve. Get your libation together. Get your champagne. Okay, whatever you got, whatever you do. If you're not driving nowhere, get your champagne. Get all the stuff that you need. I want you to like. Please subscribe if you not have subscribed. Please hit that bell if you haven't hit that bell to get notifications of when we come on. When Breaking Brown Family is going to be here. Please do that. Please share. Please also go to subscribetobrown.com and add your name to the mailing list. Please do all of that. Listen, for those of you who were not here, for the Denmark Vesey episode, it was Thursday. It went really well. It was a really good episode. We had some really good callers call in. So we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep doing that. At the end, those of you who didn't tune in, at the end of today's show, I hope I don't forget, but at the end of today's show, I'm going to announce the next book for the book club. So the next book for the book club, remind me in the chat if I forget to say it by the end of this episode, because I got it here, but I always and I want to do a drum roll. We're gonna drum roll up to it. So remind me about that because we're gonna do another one. This book is gonna be a little bit longer. The Denmark Vesey book was kind of short. Really, the meat of the book was 140 pages. So this one is going to be longer. So we're going to have a longer time to actually read the book. But I'll get into the weeds of that as we go along. Right now, we got to talk about what we got to talk about. And we got to talk about what we're going to do going forward. I know everybody's out and partying. And everybody who's out can see this episode later on. They can see this episode tomorrow or the next day. But I got to put up a little something about New Year's resolutions. We got to have rules. Everything has to have rules. We got to have a standard by which we do things. That's just how life has to work. It has to work for us. And so one of the things, number one for me in terms of, let me just put this up. Somebody put this, and this is what made me add this to the list. Somebody put this up in the YouTube comments, because I go through the comments. I go through the comments and, whatever. And somebody put this up, and I thought, like, immediately when I saw it, I said, this has to be number one. I said, this has to be number one. Now, I want you all to read this with me. I want you all to read this with me. If somebody said it's too dangerous to party at New Year's, you doggone Skippy. It says, my question is, at which point will black folks, DOS, stop yapping and start doing to change their lot in life? At some point, it's just ranting, complaining, pontificating, and blaming. And yes, I am due for self. You don't say. I'm shocked. However, I think you can do for rest, resist, fight, whatever. And I'll put up for just a second my response. But, what I told him, I said, political education isn't ranting. Listen, I communicate with people every day who are actually making change in their homes and through local politics. Don't diminish what others are doing, because you're programmed to see progress only in terms of some grand spectacle. Go handle your do-for-self business as you see fit. Please handle your business. Please do whatever you think you need to do in your particular life without bothering us. And here's why I say this, family. Here's why I want to say this. Here's why I want to say this. we have got to get out of the mode. Number one, in terms of the future, we have got to get out of the mode of feeling that, of like this feeling that the only time or like nothing's happening unless there is some type of like huge grand spectacle. Like unless there is some kind of big thing to do, some kind of big carrying on or some kind of big going on, that like if nobody's in the, if I don't have a Bentley by this time next year, or if we ain't in the street by this time February, then there, all of a sudden that there must be a problem. Change, you have to change how you define progress, and you can progress in your home. Everything starts at home. Even before you branch out local politics, all of that, everything starts at home. If you are married, or you have a partner, or you're engaged, your girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other, whatever, I don't care. Like if you all started like engaging in politics in a way that you haven't been engaging before, that's progress. Don't diminish that, and don't let anybody have you diminish that. That is progress. If you started following your legislator on Twitter, and you are now tweeting them, and you see what they saying, and you starting to pick up the BS and what they say, and trying to figure out whether or not you should vote for them or vote for somebody else or do it differently. If you're thinking about politics in a different way, you know what that means? That means that pretty soon you're going to start voting differently. That means pretty soon your activism is going to be different. That means pretty soon how you interact with your politicians is going to be different. That means pretty soon you're going to start to spot the BS everywhere. Let me tell you that is progress. And don't let anybody tell you that that's not progress. Don't let anybody tell you, because we see so much flash that you can't recognize progress in your own life. You can't recognize progress in your own political life. You can't recognize progress in your own emotional life. You can't recognize progress in your own home and how you educate your kids, because somebody's telling you, well, we still ain't got what you say we got. Like I thought by this time we would have 30% of the wealth. Well, what does that even mean? Like how do you define what we're doing in terms of how we are engaging and laying a political foundation, and how people are engaging in their own communities? We have people right now who are engaging in local politics in their own communities, in their own local community. Just because they don't tell you, they don't owe you nothing. They tell me. I'm the one. I answer the emails when somebody says, I have advice. I'm going to City Hall. I'm going to a town hall. Should I ask X, Y? I'm the one who answers that question, so I know it's happening. Just because you don't see it happening, or you know, some of you do for self and just want to rain on everybody else's parade. People are getting engaged. When you're not getting engaged with them, you know, that's what's happening. And America's calcifying, right? So things are different, and America's moving, and it's very precarious. So number one for me would be, please change, or should I say reframe. I have written down reframe how you define progress. That's how you know you're not failing. See, people will say, like, people want to call us like naysayers. No, y'all are the naysayers. Y'all are the ones who say that we're not making progress. We ain't got $1 million. You know, I want to be like him. I want to be like Puff Daddy. I want to be. No, that's not progress. You're like in a dream world. You're like in some kind of illusion space. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the real world, and progress is step by step. It's gritty. It's hard. It's not pretty. It's not any of the things. We lived a life where we saw a bunch of hip hop artists become rich overnight. So we think that that's what progress looks like. You go from nothing to 5 Porsches and a Bentley and a Maserati and an Aston Martin, and that's what progress looks like. So we don't even understand what meaningful progress looks like. So number one, change that in your life. Change your definition of what progress looks like in your individual life. It ain't pretty. And it's not always, and not mostly, a Rolex and all that stuff, especially in terms of who we are. Number two is going to be kind of hard for a lot of people. We've had a lot of, and I haven't bashed boomers, but I think we have to accept failings. And I think we have to assess and account for and make people responsible. And I think one of the things that you have to do, you have to start saying no to boomers in the way that they say no to you. Listen closely if you're a millennial or a Gen Xer or them little, what you call the new ones, a little Y or whatever they are. What you listen very closely. You have to say no to boomers in the way that they have said no to you, right? Now let me just say, well, what do you mean, Yvette, the way they said no to me? Well, a boomer has no problem with telling you or me. It don't matter whether you went to college or you didn't go to college. If you say, well, I can't find no job, well, you could flip burgers or do whatever. You could do something. I'm sure you could find something that you could do. You're just not doing what, it's something out there for you. Just go do whatever. Go flip burgers. Now you tell a person that done had a good job or done graduated this college or whatever to go flip burgers. So you will say that to me. But then when a boomer comes to you and says, well, I need a new car, or you can just get me a used one, that's all right. I know you got it. You got a good job. You don't know how to say no to that person. No, you need to tell that person, maybe you got to go back to work. You're not infirm. Maybe you got to go do something else. The Walmart, they got the people, the little old people, when they leave, maybe you see that. Maybe you got to do that. Maybe you didn't have enough to retire. See, don't nobody have a problem saying no to us as millennials and Gen Xers. But people have a problem saying, oh, that's so mean. No, they didn't have enough. And there's not enough for you to retire on. There's obviously not enough because you want a car and you want somebody who got $100,000 in college loans to pay for the car. Or you want somebody who got kids and got to pay for them kids and try to put away money for them kids. So then money flows down, it don't flow up. Then you want them to go and pay. They got to pay for their kids, but then you want them to pay for you to have a car. Maybe you got the Walgreens or something, just $300 a month or something is extra for you. Because maybe life didn't give you enough to retire. Because what they'll tell you is that life didn't give you enough to have the job you wanted, so go flip burgers at McDonald's. They won't tell you I didn't do the work to push the door open for you. But they're telling you no. Like when you say I need, they're telling you, well, no, we're not going to do it that way. I can't help you. So one of the things that we have to learn when people tell us no, we have to understand that one of the first things we have to understand is that we don't have enough to say yes. And we've always talked about this. And this probably goes under number 2. You got to be able to count. We talked about counting. We talked about counting how many times? We talked about counting on this show how many times? How many times did we talk about counting and not knowing how to count? Well, when you know how to count, your life changes in terms of how you assess things. So you got to know, those of you out there with college loans, you got to start counting your debt. When you count your debt, you realize, oh, I'm in the red. I don't have it. And you got to be okay with saying I don't have, because you don't. You don't. You got 20,000, 100,000, 150,000. Every Negro who went Ivy League got 6 figures. Every Negro who didn't go Ivy League got at least about 30 or 40 for a undergrad degree, depending on where you went. You got to count everything. You can't just count your salary. And people love to count your salary. Oh no, you got a good government job. Oh no, you an attorney. Oh no, you this. Oh no. No, you got to count my debt. And when you count my debt, I'm in the red. When you count my debt, I'm in the red, right? And then somebody said, if you went back into the military, well, you got to count that. If you did and the military paid off your stuff, then your arithmetic is very different. Count everything though. You got to count everything. You got to count because everybody's counting. If you don't count, somebody's going to count for you. If you don't adequately count your money, somebody's going to count for you and they're going to believe you got it when you don't got it. And see, we can't do this because that's part of the reason people say, well, Yvette don't want to help people. No, that's part of the reason we can't do politics. Because I'm talking to you, my people out there. with a little bit of a salary, but $100,000 in student debt. Part of the reason we can't do politics is because y'all run around throwing out money like Santa Claus, and you really don't have it to throw around. You really don't have it to give back. You really don't have it to give out. And we can't do politics because don't nobody know they need politics because they got you. You got to count your debt. You got to count all of it. Let's get back to the counting. Okay, that's number 2. That is number 2, and that was a very good article. That really kind of, if you all haven't seen it, it's up at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Wealth gap between whites and blacks widened after Great Recession, and I've seen very little evidence that, especially for us, that recession is really over with. I haven't seen a lot of evidence of that. But it's I put that up on my Facebook, and if you ever want to know if I'm going to put up something for you to read while a couple people sent me this. Thanks to the people of the fam who sent me this in my inbox. I appreciate it. But one of the things we got to understand. One of the things we have to understand, and this article was very good at like showing the limitations of us. Like people paint Atlanta, Atlanta people really doing it big, and they have developers down there, and they do. And this article just shows you like, no, that's not what's happening at all. I could have told you that Atlanta's full of a bunch of plastic Negroes, and I could have told you that a long time ago. But what you have to understand, yeah, somebody said that in the chat, like Yvette driving. I know. But here's the thing. What you have to understand as we get to number 3, this article was very good at pointing out everything that we say is true. It's very good at pointing that out. And let me just tell you something. Understand, when I talk about what you don't have, understand that you have to retire at some point too. There's going to come a point where you can't work no more. So, like, you can't just count what's in your account like you have it to give, because you got to sit down at some point, too. People keep pushing it like you don't got to do it. Well, you got it. Yeah, but what I'm going to be, what I got to do when I can't work no more? You gotta add all of that in when you have these discussions with people about money. But when I go back to this article, there's one thing that was, they go through a few different people. And one of the people they go through is this developer. Now understand that Negro looked real good on paper. Like, I mean, he looked real good in the picture. If you saw him in a picture in Black Enterprise in the summer of 2012, you would say, oh, that brother's doing good. See, we got money. I'm going to tell you, we got money. I saw this man. He was doing real good. And you can't tell me we don't have money. You can't tell me, because I saw the man in a blue suit. But look what happened to him. He said, I went to, Washington Mutual. It went out, during the recession. And they said the money was not here. Butler said, I lost my line of credit. It didn't matter that I had a good history. They didn't have any money to lend. I was just a small businessman doing the right thing that was adversely affected by the recession. But wait a minute. Y'all told me we could do black business now. Now he's telling me he need a line of credit from the bank. You know why he need a line of credit from the bank? Because we come from slaves. Don't nobody want to keep saying it. He needed it, and so he don't know nobody that could give him 100. Well, the bank won't give you 250. Okay, I'm gonna give you 50. I'm gonna peel off 50 for you, and then somebody else. I got 5 more friends. We all gonna peel you off 50. No big deal. If you lose it, it's no big deal. We don't know anybody like that because we come from slaves and Jim Crow and convict leasing and mass incarceration and crack thrown into our communities. So we don't know anybody like that. I don't care who you know. You don't know anybody who is just peeling out 50 to get to this man. Without the bank, he don't have anything. And you know who could have made the bank lend to black business people? That would have been Obama. That would have been your president. He could have said, no. I'm ordering these banks, and y'all got to give a certain amount of money in order to all these banks got to give a certain amount of money in order to get these bailout funds to banks. To small black employers or businesses. That's how government works. That could have kept that man afloat, but instead he's out $250 because he went for his credit line, and I'm sure he tried to shore it up or whatever he had, and he lost everything. He lost what he was trying to become in terms of becoming a developer. And he says he's trying to get back into it and all of this stuff, right? And there's nobody under age 55 with 50 liquid. We've already seen the data. How many times have we put it up on the show? It doesn't exist. That person doesn't exist. That person doesn't exist. Well, we got a lot of college graduates. You got a lot of people with plugs and no outlets. You got a lot of people with 175 or 55 or 100,000 in debt, but no cash on hand to speak of. We can't bail him out. That's what business looks like. You know, when we talk about Jeff Bezos, some people, I'm gonna be the next Amazon. No, you're gonna be the next crazy person. He got $400K in the 90s from his parents, and told him that, think about what $400K is in the 90s, and told him basically like you might not get the money back. And he had worked like for a Wall Street hedge fund or whatever on his own. That's what you need. That's what everybody's living on. Everybody's living on family money, parent money, and grandparent money right now. He didn't have none of that, so he couldn't do business. And that's why he's in the position that he's in. And from that same article, you know, we got to go to the next. We got to go to the next number 3. Number 3 in terms of our resolutions. You got to know when to say yes and when to say no. When you're dealing with family and friends, it's about to become a crunch. We predicted this 2017, like it's about to get wicked. You got to be able to assess when, if you have any resources at all, when can I help and when can I help? Now, this is from this same AJC article. And the title right there is You Feel Like a Failure. Now, McKeechin, she had a different job, right? But she was getting evicted. She was like working for a non-profit or something like that. Was that the one? And it says, McKeechin, who is single, said it didn't make much sense for her family to help her if they were going to pay her mortgage for a month. How would she pay it the following month? It's a very good question. It's a very good question. How would they pay it? How would she pay it the following month? You don't have enough money. We don't have enough money. Because we all see the data. None of us have money. We don't. So, we certainly don't have enough money to put money down a black hole. Well, what does that mean? If you don't have income, prospect for income. What is the use of me helping you pay your mortgage this month? So I pay your mortgage $1,200 this month. $1,200, that's $2,400 if you got it. And then you still gonna get foreclosed on. Like, what we need to be talking about is where you move and how quickly you move. You got to get out of there before that goes on your credit, and you got to get an apartment. So we got to work on that. This whole house thing ain't, no, I'm not, no. And that's what people will do. People will tell you, no, you got to help me. You got to help me keep my house. You don't have a job, and you don't have a prospect for a job. You're not keeping the house. The house is finished. You have to be able to assess when you're putting money down a black hole. You cannot afford to do that. Now, see, you got to be okay. You got to be okay with being disliked, though, because people are going to be mad. Well, if you was my friend, you give me $1,200. Is that right? Even though I know what this means, that the likelihood of you getting a job to pay off, like your previous, like getting a job period in this economy, but getting a job to pay off last month and last month and next month and next month. I can see if I got my Breaking Brown cap on, I can see that, like, no, this is not gonna happen. But what you really want me to do is give you $3,600 out of friendship. No. Friendship means being honest with you and helping you out of this situation into a situation that's workable. I'm not going to throw money into a black hole. I'm just not going to do it, and you shouldn't do it. You know, the Trump tax cuts change, like, you know, dependents. And you're not going to get what you were going to get in terms of 4 kids and that refund and the money that you used to count on. So what happens is you had a lot of other people that was in, whether you do hair or whatever, that's counting on those refunds and counting on them refund checks, and you get a spike in business. All of this stuff. And then you have after school care that was going to pay for that, and all these programs got cut. Life is about to change. And you have to be able to assess, not just, because you can't always help people how they want you to help them. You got to help them how you know they need to be helped if you're going to help that person. You got to know one, should I help this person? 2, how should I help this person? How do I make that assessment? What do I do? How do I move? You got to know how to do that. You got to be able to do that. And you got to be okay if they mad. Oh, I can't believe you didn't pay my mortgage. I know you got it. Yeah, but wait a minute. Wait a minute though. A person who has a mortgage in a very nice neighborhood with a very nice home will tell you, I know you got it, and you live in a 1-bedroom apartment. So wait a minute, is the expectation that I'm undergirding your life? And so even if I pay your rent for whatever, your mortgage for whatever, you go back to being a homeowner and respectable Negro, and I go back to having an apartment, and I did that for you out of what? And you can't even afford to do it. And then that person has what has like this built-in no. Because they have kids. They might have kids, you don't have kids. Or you just got 1 and they got 4. So then when you ask them when it comes back around, well, now I need help, you know. I need help. I was a little short. My refund was a little short. Oh, girl, you know I would, but I got these 4 babies. You ain't got but 1. But I helped you, though. You can't be running around helping all these people, these built-in no's. They know they got a reflexive no. Oh, I would, but I wish I would, but you know I got these 4 kids. It's been real hard. You know I got 4 kids. They got a built-in no for you, but they expect you. Well, you ain't got no kids. Yes, because I know I couldn't afford them. Best of luck. Godspeed. I can't pay for that. I can help you maneuver your way into an apartment, though. Or you can help them however you can, but don't put money into a black hole. So when we look at number 3 is please do not put money into a black hole. If you're the one who's loaning money or helping somebody out, it's you who gets to determine how that money is spent, if at all. You don't get to ask me for money and tell me what it's going to be. Well, I just need it for the mortgage. If you don't got the money for the mortgage and I don't want to talk, well, then we don't got to talk. We don't got to talk no more ever again in this life. Thank you. Bye. You get to determine how the money has been spent. You don't get to roll over for nobody. You don't have to roll over for nobody. You don't got to roll over for any. You don't have to roll over for anybody. If it's your money, you are the boss of that situation. Determine how that money getting spent. And if you determine the money gets spent on a new apartment deposit, or what, you got to sleep in this basement over here for a little while. That's what you got to do. You don't get to tell me what the money you need and what you need it for. You making calls. That doesn't happen. That's number 3. And all these little contracts that end up you on these little TV courts don't matter. Don't be trying to make no little weird TV court contracts. Them things don't work. Well, I had us say, You either give it or you don't give it. And you be real serious about that. Because you don't want to give yourself a heart attack trying to get money back that you shouldn't have loaned. Make your assessment early. And make it right. Number 4. Learn to differentiate success from failure. Please learn to differentiate success from failure. A lot of people, this is from the same article. For those of you who may have come in late, this article was at the AJC.com. Right? Now, I want you to learn to differentiate success from failure for a very specific reason. You can, because we're American DOS. What that means is that the stuff that we do as a group isn't steeped in money because we don't have it, because we were locked out of it. Nothing that we did. So one woman, Miss McCoy, in the AJC article that I just had up, her nonprofit, her clients were mostly African American. So what happens when the economy gets messed up and African Americans are hit first? Well, you guessed it. You guessed it. You have to learn to be able to assess anything, assess the risk of this. You have to be able to assess what a real business looks like. You know, when I had this discussion about Boyce, I had people come on YouTube, oh, Yvette, you just talking about him. And somebody said, well, it's apples and oranges, Yvette. You don't understand. Like Boyce has to sell, Boyce has to, offer a real expensive flash card because he doesn't have access to the resource to make a cheap flash card like the white people do. Well, that's not a business, sweetheart. If you can't be competitive, that's not a business. And we don't live in a segregated America. We don't live in white America and black America. There is only one America, and there are only one kind of dollar bill, and they all green. And if you can't compete with somebody on that green dollar bill and give me less, give me a deal and make me pay less than them when I have less, you do not run a business. This is not, well, you can't compare his business to anybody's business. These are dollars. These are dollars, darling. Dollars. All dollars compare to other dollars. All prices compare to other prices. I'm supposed to give you you cannot be living a world where as the group on the bottom of the economic hierarchy, you are expected to give a $10 donation because that person is black like you. That is not business. That is charity. And if you want to take, you can't do charity like that. You cannot do charity. This is charity, sweet. We can't listen. Understand, charity and business are different. If anybody tells you, well, you can't compare, of course he got to sell high because of the white man. What that person is really telling you is that white people have made it to where you can't do business as a black person, as an American DOS person. That's what they're telling you. If you have to sell to me at a high price and your prices are not competitive, what you're telling me is that you have been locked out of doing business in America. And for boys, it's even worse because you're teaching white business. You're teaching about the stock market and all this white stuff, but then you telling me I can't really afford to do business. So you teach about white business, but you can't do business in white America without charging me an excess amount of what I should pay for flashcards that I can get on YouTube for free. It makes no sense. A businessman should know that. And I need you to know that. Forget him, throw that all in the trash. I need you to understand how to assess success from failure, business from not business, and when to do it, and how to make all these assessments. I need you to do that. I need you to understand that. You have to, there's no way that I can do it. There's no way that anybody else can do it. There's no way. You have to be able to make that assessment. It doesn't, and the assessment is not and should not require, me to come in and say it. What Politics 102 says is that we can figure this out on our own now. Like Yvette's great for some things, but Politics 102 says we figured some stuff out. We all figured some stuff out. And I can tell you right now that my people in the email figure a lot of stuff out, because I get it. They figuring stuff out. Now you can either catch up and get right, or I don't know. I don't know. These are things that have to happen. All these people running these businesses, and you think they doing good business, and they doing all kinds of tax fraud. Let me bring up the other picture for you. Hold on. All this stuff, and these little businesses that look like businesses, and they really, all you do is a tax business, and you do stuff, and this is the couple, and you do stuff that get yourself and everybody else in trouble. But you probably been in black enterprise. You probably been, Cedar Hill couple gets 15 years for federal prison for fraudulent tax preparation. Just putting anything. They just run around putting anything on your Schedule C. But that's a business, girl. They got a business. We doing it big. We black business. Uh-huh. You better understand what this America is and what this America is doing. And let me just read something to you real quick about, let me just put this back up. Hold on. A Cedar Hill husband and wife who ran a tax preparation business will each spend 15 years in prison for a series of frauds they concocted, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. Jacqueline and Gladstone Morrison were sentenced Friday in Fort Worth by U.S. District Judge John McBride. The sentence of 187 months, although steep for a tax preparation fraud case, was below the sentencing guidelines in the case that ranged from 262 months to 327 months. But they look so black businessy. They all dressed up and they look, they look good. Don't they? And when you say, well, why do we have, there was a great article that I put up a while ago. I think it was in the newsletter. Why even wealthy black students have more student loan debt? Because they're not really wealthy. There's no equity. Like, there's nothing for you to pull out of. There's no money for you to pull out of. At the root of the disparities are differences, are differences not only in income, but also how black and white families acquire wealth, which includes home equity, savings, and inheritance. Inheritance. And pass it on to their children, the study said. People, listen. People who didn't pass anything on to you, this is what everybody's living on, cannot make a demand. There is no demand to be made. And number 4 was learn to differentiate. And number 5 is be decisive. 5% of black families are worth $350K, and these are the boomers. You got to be decisive in this thing. All these people are expressing wealth that they don't have. These people in these nice suits and people who wear alpaca. Like, everybody's expressing a wealth that does, the data shows you that, like, all y'all lying. All y'all up here telling lies and fibs and stories and all kinds of wild tales. That's what the data says. And once you know the data, it lets you know everything. And it should make you feel better. I've been feeling bad thinking there was a bunch of black millionaires running around, but now I know the truth. Everybody lying. Now I know what it is. And you got to understand too with number 5, when I say be decisive, understand. When I say be decisive, and when I say understand about making assessments, understand that people think I'm, every time I say something about Jay Morris, he puts up a thing. I don't know why my own people hating on me. Because you're mentally you're very childlike in terms of the way you think. And I don't want my people to invest in something that's childlike, because it's not even about you as a person. I don't care about you. I don't know you. I don't care about you. What I'm saying is that I have to advise my people that you file bankruptcy, right? That's what I have to advise my people who are sending you money based off something that they want to see. I have to, if everybody else is on aspiration, I have to take a cold analysis. My analysis can't be warm and fuzzy, because that's how people get over. I have to say, like, people, he filed bankruptcy, and and I have to say, like, when do you all assess how much was your money? Like, how much did you receive in terms of the investments? I have to ask these questions. It's actually negligent that the only people who are saying this are me and Antonio. Like, because these are questions that everybody, to do your due diligence doesn't make you negative. That's what you do when you get in business with somebody. Have you ever listened to any of these? Like, they have calls when fund managers have calls with investors, and then the investors rip them a new one. That's just how it works. It's not negative, it's just business. Your job when you invest in somebody's business, your job is not to be their cheerleader. Your job you don't hold any stock. Read the contract. Read the paperwork. You're not an owner in that. But even if you own stock, even if you were a real investor in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, your job would be to hold that person accountable and ask serious, well-researched questions. And even if you made money, then the question would be, why didn't we make more? How does that happen? How do we change next year? Well, I read the paperwork and I saw this and I saw that and I have a problem with this. I look at line 4. You just can't be like, yeah, brother, you doing it big. You look clean. You look real clean. What does that matter? You got a bankruptcy right there. That set off all kind of alarms. And it's my job to alarm people and say, hey, we have an ex-drug dealer who had filed bankruptcy. Like, what's going on? Who we giving millions of dollars to? Are we gonna pump the brakes, try to figure this thing out? That's my responsibility. I'm not gonna abdicate that for who? Antonio talked to a black man who said, like, he's running from me, like he owes me money. That's something that needs to be investigated. Like, if we actually had media, we could investigate this and figure it out. You know why we don't have media? You do. This is all part of Morrison's public bankruptcy. Anybody, you could research it. I mean, I'm just trying to. We got to figure it out. That's our job. Stop painting everything as like y'all just hating on me. But let's go on. And everybody, when I talk about be decisive, one of the things that I have here is that everybody doesn't get an opinion. A person with an uninformed opinion don't get an opinion. If you say, well, I spent all day doing I'm the best dancer. So I have an opinion. Watch what I did. No. First of all, you ain't got time for all that. If it take you that long to pop, lock, and do whatever you're doing, then stop. We ain't got time for that. Because we got stuff to do. And I don't know what you're doing, but we ain't got time for that. I enjoy it. It's wonderful. But you don't have time to pirouette all day and not know nothing. To be like, I be dancing all the day. No. If your opinion is uninformed, it's worthless. And you just shouldn't talk. If you want to just do that all day, you certainly shouldn't say nothing to nobody. You should just keep all your thoughts to yourself. Number 6. Understand which policies arranged your life. Don't always reflexively look to individual agency. Well, he just should have. I don't know why he sold that weed. Wait a minute. How many? Look at the number. Look at the mass incarceration numbers. Right? Look at what those numbers look like. And when you see what those numbers look like, one thing that becomes clear, or at least should become clear to you, is that society was arranged to put black men in jail. It's not something individual. This is something that arranged a certain way that it affects your life. You have to look at how policies impact your life. So when you see things happening to you and your neighbors and your community, whether it be locally, I'm starting to see more streetwalkers on the corner. I'm starting to see what policies around are affecting your life and the creation of certain kinds of people and certain kinds of dysfunction. Don't just look. We have a tendency to look at, well, what he should have done and what he should have did. No, let's look at the policies and how those policies are pushing certain arrangements in our lives. We have to do that. We have to see differences. One of the things that happens, and when I say see differences, I mean see differences beyond melanin. Like, we tend to like say, and if you haven't, a good friend of the show wrote this is up at paulsowers.com, and it's about the whole Michelle Alexander thing. And I'm not going to get into it, but you have someone who, when you talk about, remember Michelle Alexander's show, right? Well, we talked about her saying none of us deserve citizenship. Now she was actually on stage with this Vargas fellow who wrote a book. He wrote this book, for those of you who don't know. Now check out the title, Dear America. Notes from an undocumented citizen. Understand how he slicked that in, I'm a citizen. See, what happens is, but you don't realize that the place that we were redlined out of, his people got a spot in. But he's talking about, well, we all the same. No, we're not all the same. You have to be able to understand the differences in people and groups. You have to be able to do that. Now that's number 7, right? That's number. You got to be able to do that. You got to be able to look at that and be like, no, 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 no. That's not. No, there are differences. You got to be willing to see differences. Number 8, don't assume disadvantage. Because when you look into his life, he didn't have the disadvantage that you had. That's number 8. You got to be willing. You got to be willing and able to look and see disadvantage. And you got to be willing to see and to make. Don't let nobody just tell you that. Well, I struggle too. No, what kind of struggle? Where you live? Who your people? Who your mama? Who your daddy? Who your grandmama? Who your granddaddy? Tell me about these people. What community? What's the zip code where they grew up at? Let me know. I want to know. Because everybody is living through this sort of assumed disadvantage. And it's just not true. There is no assumed disadvantage. There is no way that you can just be like, well, he brown, so he must come through. He must have went through the same thing that American DOS go through. No. Number 8 is you can't assume that. You have to make people start showing you receipts. You have to make people start showing you their life. And that goes along with number 9. Like, number 10. Don't let people sort of like, I don't know what the best word for it is, but like fake outrage you, right? So, you have all these people who are kind of, want to get you outraged about, yeah, we're all in this, or Trump, we gotta, and you want to use my outrage. You want to use me as a conduit to something else. You want to use me as like a launching pad or a floor mat to something else that is your desired goal. That's your desire. It's not my goal. It's your goal. So you wanted me to get enraged about something you're enraged about for my goal. See, let me tell you something. This is why when people say, well, oh my God, Yvette, Trump is the worst thing. We have to all just be outraged about him as a president. Not just him as a person, but him as a president. We just got to be outraged, and we should be outraged about who he is. And listen, Antonio did an interview with Rothstein. This is like everything from redlining to the covenants. This is what America's always been. Bill Clinton executed a man who had been a black man who had been basically lobotomized. You can read this article and check it out. He didn't have part of his brain. He thought that he was gonna, after execution, he was gonna get chocolate cake or whatever. And he did that just to show white people that he was willing to do that. Like that's who he was. We talked before at a different episode about we talked before at a different episode about George H.W. Bush. We talked about him, right? And we talked about remember we talked about the crack cocaine? And we talked about how he set up a cocaine sting outside of the White House, and like the kid who did it, who lived in like Southeast DC, got 10 years in jail. And we talked about, we all know about Obama, but Obama said he's good at killing people. It wasn't just drones. Understand that, like, we don't, people say, oh, George H.W. Bush, this, that, and we talk about the fact that this guy was former CIA. He knew exactly what he was doing. Like, America's always been this place. So the people who are telling you, oh my God, you just got to be extra outraged, are based on what? Like, how many planes did McCain crash? Like 3 or 4? Didn't he let off a bomb allegedly by mistake, and he hurt somebody and another fellow person? And then like didn't he like divorce his wife, or like, and she didn't even know she was about to get divorced, and all? I mean, didn't he call her the C word? All these people have been. This idea how we paint people up in America, like, well, he's just the worst. No, what you see with all these people is that they've always been. These people who have they've been this way. You get what you can out of them to make us citizens, but please don't tell me that like Trump is some type of demarcation point for this country. No, that's just not true. McCain got hooked up because who he was. He was always, even in school, fighting people and acting crazy and doing crazy stuff. Wasn't good at being a pilot. They supposed to take your wings when you crash one time. This Negro took out the lights in like Italy somewhere, crashed into power lines. And y'all gonna talk about he was just a maverick. He ran the same kind of campaign. When he ran against Obama, y'all don't remember how he darkened all those pictures to make Obama look blacker? Like, and you know, but everybody remembers. Now, remember that one time, that little old lady, he said that he wasn't a Muslim. But his whole campaign was set up. And this is not anything about being pro-Obama, but that was just racist. Call it what it was. What makes him better than Trump? Like, those who think that just don't know it. So, I'm at number 10. I got 7 more to go, but I'm about to go to the calls right now and intersperse the rest of them during our conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go to the calls. I'm going to listen to what the callers have to say. Give me 3 or 4 minutes up the phones. I want you, when you call in, to give me what you feel is a resolution that we should carry forward into the new year as American DOS fam. Okay, so think of one thing that we should carry forward. I'm gonna take a quick break, set up the phones, and we'll be back. All right, what's going on, family? We are ready to go to the calls. So we're gonna go to the calls. I am coming first to 312. 312. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello.
What's going on, 312?
Hey, how you doing? My name is Joseph Thompson. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, but now I live in Chicago. Okay, I'm surprised I got on, so forgive me if I'm kind of nervous. But first of all, I'm 42 years old. I didn't learn how to read until like 4 or 5 years ago when I came to Chicago by reading the Bible. At this place called Pacific Garden Mission. It's a homeless shelter, but they have a Bible program. But anywho, just give a background of who I am. Maybe a year ago, I started to study other things. Black politics, religion, different, just all sorts of things, myself, my ancestors, or whatnot. And so that's why I am now. I've been listening to you about a year now. The first 3 months was kind of hard, but I got to have confidence in you and your opinion. But I have this idea, and I'm going to shoot it to you, because I've been thinking about something that we can do as a people, as DOS people, as people that are descendants of slaves. I don't care if you was from here already or you from some other country or whatever, but I'm talking about descendants of slaves. Something that we can do as a people, like back in the 60s, when they did the boycott on the bus. Okay, I understand that we might not be able to do that. I understand that, but it's something that we can do maybe for the next month. I'm just shooting it out there. So
Okay, I'm listening.
Maybe within the next month we can figure out something like maybe, and this is an idea, maybe not go to McDonald's or don't go to Walmart, or something as small as not using the app or not using Amazon, or something that we can do to affect the community, to affect the people that's in charge, whoever it is. Maybe it's the race that's in charge or the country that's in charge for right now, whatever, I don't know. But to let them know that we need to be heard, that we need to do something as a unit, no matter whatever it is. I don't know, it could be something. But we need to figure out something that we can do starting maybe in February. We can do this. Maybe it's not, like I say, maybe it's some kind of material that we don't use, or a place that we don't go, or something that we can do as a community. So it's just an idea. It's not, I haven't gotten the whole thing, but I'm just putting it out there because it's something that we need to do. And I just want your idea.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't know.
Okay, thank you, caller. You did fine in terms of being nervous or whatever. I appreciate you. Listen, the problem with the idea that he suggested, the problem with it is that we're in a the reason that the bus boycott and everything did so well, you know, part of the reason that did so well was because I don't know how there was no, it wasn't globalism. And what I mean is everything wasn't globalized, right? So Jeff Bezos sends stuff not just only all over America, but like Amazon sends stuff all over the world. So and it's involved in a lot of sub-layer businesses, meaning like everything's not the same thing. So what that means is that Amazon was at the Defense Department doing stuff with them. Right? So there's nothing that there's the moment of using that, and that was my problem. That was my problem with the when people were like boycott football or boycott whatever was going. I don't remember what was going. Like my problem was like all this stuff, like the moment to do a lot of the stuff that we're doing, we don't understand timing and how like companies are different now, and that's just what it is. So I appreciate the brother calling in. I appreciate you, you know, being honest. You haven't, you just got your literacy together. And I appreciate you calling in because that's what you got to do. You got to think through these things. And we'll think through everything. But you got to think through these things. 310, I'm coming to you now.
Happy New Year.
What's going on? Happy New Year, Tom.
What up, man? What up? Let me say this first with the boycott thing. Capital don't need our money no more.
Ooh. I was trying to be nice.
We talked about this before with the trillions of dollars. You know, black people running around here talking about $1.2 trillion in spending power. That's soap and baby powder. That, you know, if you get a car loan for $57,000 and you put $800 down, well, you just spent $57,000. You can't take that somewhere else and buy land. There's this idea of like agency and power that black folks just don't have because we don't have wealth and we never were positioned to have wealth. We were a contagion to wealth. Understand, I'm coming to mind. My resolutions will tie into this, but I don't think that everybody understands what that means for your own sanity and what you need to do going forward. But we're going to deal with that right now. Let me give you my resolution, and we can do the one that I discussed with you on text message or earlier today. So my resolution is make black business show you it's not black predatory business. So let me say what I mean. You got to show me that your business ain't a tax business where you just loan black women, loan them money on their taxes at 20 and 15% that they gonna guarantee to get in like 3 months. You gotta show me you and your daddy ain't in a car business that's really a repossession business. Meaning you sell cars to people that got bad credit so that you can repossess their car. You gotta show me that you ain't selling flashcards to black people just to get a donation in another way. You gotta show me that you're not doing a trust, TRF trust fund, Black Wall Street trust fund, just to get money, and you're really doing it for the people because the paperwork gotta show that the people own it. You gotta show me that you ain't selling hair weave to little black girls that ain't got no confidence. They didn't have their daddy to tell them that they was beautiful. You gotta show me that your business ain't predatory. Problem is, ain't no profit margin in not being predatory. Come on. Let's go to the second one. So let's do the one that's on the list, right? So we talked about it earlier today. Let's make it clear. This is the reparation generation. This year, the reparation generation, people the ages of about 35 to about 55. Let me tell y'all something that y'all need to do going into the new year. What y'all need to do is don't let nobody make you carry their lineage. Come on. Don't let nobody make you carry their lineage. Let me explain what I mean. From your mama to your kid to your mate, everybody's making you carry their slavery. So your mama telling you got to pay for her back. You know, she don't got enough. She don't got enough for her back. You didn't get no windfall. You got student debt. Don't let her make you carry her lineage. Your mate, if you're a man or a woman, but let's use a man. If your wife is saying, you didn't give me a house. Wait, you didn't know your pops. And he didn't give us no money. Don't let her make you carry her lineage. Your children. Come on, I know it's hard. Let's hear it straight, though. We living in a time of wealth calcification. The era that's supposed to have given money is the 70s and the 80s because the rise. We talked about that before we showed the chart. What I'm saying to you is that when wealth calcifies this way, and I tell this to Yvette all the time, you probably ain't going to be able to give your kids no more than your parents gave you. That's what wealth calcification does. No, it's not hard to tell. So what I'm saying to you is you can love your kids, you can feed your kids, you can house your kids. But what you can't do is make your kids white. I'm saying to you is what you got to be able to do in this era, in this moment, is don't let your kids make you carry the lineage that came before you that didn't leave you enough to make your kids American. Don't let nobody make you carry their lineage. That's what I'm saying today. That's my resolution. I'll let everybody get in.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, Tone. And that's what your lineage look like right there. That's the lineage that Antonio just said don't let. And we didn't get, like, there was nothing that, like, nobody kept it moving. Nobody kept it going. Nobody kept fighting. Everybody, after the civil rights movement, everybody said, we're going to be businessmen and women. We're gonna get the bag. And we don't need no politics. We don't need no handout. Well, if you said that, you can't come asking for nothing now. You said it. That's what you said. You lived your life or whatever. You can't come, well, you know, I have a bad toe, and I need to have it. They say it's got to be removed, and you might have to live with that bad toe. It might have to. I mean, is it gangrene? Let's be specific about it. What does bad mean? You have to, and that goes to number for me. Like number 11. Number 11 for me is attention is powerful. Manage it. And what I mean by that, when I say attention is powerful, manage it. Your attention can't be every which way. Like, I'm over here, the immigrants. Oh, women's power. We got a lot of women elected. Oh, my God, the styrofoam is destroying the earth. It is. But who benefited from that? The same people who made us slaves, or our ancestors slaves, are the same people who destroyed the planet. Let you fix it. You got all the money, all the rewards from now. You say, everybody come along. We all got to fix it. If you don't get your away from me. That's number 11. Number 12, real quick. I said attention is power on number 10. On number 10, manage it. Number 12 is something I said last week. Memory is powerful. I want you to manage that too. I don't talk about a lot what I do normally in my life. But I think all American DOS people should keep a journal. You don't even got to write but one little page in it or something every day or whatever. But just if you wrote down like, oh, Yvette said do X, Y, Z. I'm going to do it. I've been thinking about it or whatever. And you can revisit that 4 months later. See, I said I was going to do that. And I said I was going to talk to so-and-so about something. And I said, and you know that like, okay, I didn't do that. You can manage your own memory and your own politics because life get busy. We forget. We said we was going to do stuff. We said, I'm going to get a backbone and stand up to Papa or whatever. We don't do it. If you write it down, you have to kind of hold yourself accountable. I said I was going to do it. I didn't do it. I got to do it. So memory fails us like as we go about our day to day. But if you write it down, you get to come back to it and you get to address it. And one thing you can afford is a paper notebook. Okay? And number 13, Antonio carry. When we talk about today, don't let nobody carry. Listen, don't make nobody let people make you carry their lineage. We talked about that. That's number 13. So, I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 918. 918, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 918? Hello? I don't know what's going on. Hello, you there?
Yvette, my name is Diane.
Hey, Diane.
I'm here.
What's going on? What's on your mind?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you. Let me turn you down on my TV.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I have, thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
And Happy New Year's to you, you and Antonio. I just started listening to you guys, my husband and I say about 6 months maybe.
Okay.
And been putting your name out there. My mom, my
Appreciate
daughter. You guys need to hear her. She's really good.
Thank you.
So anyway, about what you were talking about and our plight as far as being broke DOS people. I was listening to this lady. Her name is Sherry Pill Jackson. She used to work for the IRS back in the day. And she was talking, saying that, and you've probably heard this before, that no one should be paying taxes except for federal employee people. I don't know if you ever heard of that. So she doesn't pay taxes. She's been in prison, but she doesn't pay taxes now. So she said, I refuse to give my money to the oligarchs, the 1%ers. And then so also I'm not sure if you know about this, but I'm a YouTube person, so I've been looking at YouTube, and our Social Security number is like everybody that's born gets a Social Security number, and we are like a corporation over towards England. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Do you have
I haven't heard of it, but like I'm trying to get as many people in tonight as I can. Can you give me your resolution going forward?
So my resolution is, now we're supposed to be able to pay off our debt through our corporation, through our Social Security number. I don't know if you ever heard of that. That is part of my resolution, if you have ever heard of that. Now, I've been looking at some things on YouTube, and it's through the treasurydirect.org, where people are paying off their debt with their Social Security number.
No, nobody's doing it. I appreciate you calling in, Pam. Nobody's doing it. And listen, let me say something. One of my things. What is it? In terms of what I said needs to happen. Number 13 was the lineage one. Number 14 was show your paperwork. Like you can't. We all struggled. That was number 14. Roxanne Gay, we didn't know you went to Exeter and all your family's elite. That was number 14. But there's somewhere in here I probably already said, stay away from reckless people. Anybody, any Negro online, I work for the IRS too. I can tell you what happens if you don't pay your tax. I can tell you what that looks like for your life if you don't do that. Don't let no Negro come online and tell you not to pay your tax. You better pay the money that you owe. Don't let nobody tell you that. I've seen firsthand what happens when you don't make your payments that you need to make. You need to do that. It is reckless and you are destroying your life. Because if you do that, let's say you go and I ain't going to pay no tax. I'm going to claim 15 exemption. I'm not going to do it. You know what's going to happen? This woman who's in this video telling you not to do that, she's never going to come to your rescue. She ain't got no attorneys. She ain't got nobody. This is probably for her just a hustle. She don't have nobody that's going to help you out, right? And then what's going to happen by the time they come to you and say you owe this money, that could be 3, 4 years later, right? So by the time you figure that out, you owe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 that you got to figure out how to pay. You can lose assets all the time. Listen, we don't have a space in our lives, fam. We don't have any space for reckless people. There is no space for reckless people. There is no space for recklessness. Please understand that. There is no space for all these theories about how we're going to get it back and all this stuff. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not going to lose everything because you said we don't have to pay tax. And we're citizens in this country. Like, that undermines my argument for citizenship. You abdicated citizenship by saying you're not going to pay tax. Now I'm saying that we should get what we're owed through tax. And you said I'm not going to pay. And you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. 818, I'm coming to you. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hello, I believe you're, hello?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, that is Dana, and I'm calling from Pasadena, California. First time caller, long time listener.
What's on your mind? What's your resolution for upcoming 2019?
I'm thinking about resolutions, and after having so much data, Yvette, I'm just like a little baffled because after so much data, Yvette, I should be happy. Because I hear people talk about this. I hear the callers. I listen to Tone's show. I listen to yours, and people seem really enthusiastic and assertive on the phone. I'm hesitant to say this, but they seem like the same people that were like looking forward to Christmas or Kwanzaa. If you know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I'm trying to understand, are we as a collective doing you and Tone more of a disservice just by listening and not putting boots on the ground and doing more?
Well, no, I think I'm sorry for those of you out there. The signal is kind of going in and out or something. You know, it's always something.
Sorry,
no, it's not you. No, not on your phone. I mean on my Wi-Fi. I mean not on you. I mean on my hardwired internet cable. Not on your phone. It's not anything you're doing. I think some people are and some people aren't. I think to answer your question, there are people who are going hardcore in terms of politics and what they do that I discussed earlier. And then there are other people who just like, well, I just want to play the devil's advocate. I just want to be the contrarian. And you can't be the contrarian all your life. Like the problem, when you talk about it, you know what my problem is? My problem is fence sitters. I need everybody. We've been doing this long enough for everybody to come off the fence. We've been doing this long enough for everybody to come off the fence. You need to be American DOS and be like, yeah, this is the politics that I ride with. I don't do fence sitters anymore. And so to the extent that people are like, well, I understand this side, but I understand this side too. Well, how you going to say that? That's like saying, I understand the fox, but I understand the chicken too. Like, no, one of these things is right. These things are diametrically opposed. They one of them is right and one of them is wrong. Pick a side, because then I know who I got to defeat to get to the other side amongst my own people. So I think the people who are still trying to ride the fence, I listen to everybody. I listen to this person. I listen to Yvette. No, you can't. No, it's time for people to start choosing which subgroup that they want to be a part of and moving on. So to the extent that people are trying to play both sides of the fence, they're doing us a disservice. And they're trying to be like, well, I listen to everything. And they think that's smart. Like, well, I take in everything. You hush. You're just a part of the problem. You don't want to take a side. You're a coward. Pick somewhere. Pick somewhere to stand. Stand somewhere. And to the extent that people are not standing up, like let me tell you, I hate fence sitters much more than I dislike people who just adamantly disagree with me. The people who just kind of be like, well, I see both sides. There is no both sides. Like, when you look at it, you have to figure out, because both the sides are like different. So you have to pick one. So I think to that extent, fam, I think that people have to the people who are on the fence are doing us a disservice. So in terms of what needs to happen, people need to get off the fence. We've done this long. We put forth, like Antonio and I have put forth the case.
We're at 2.0.
Yeah, we're at 2.0. You at least know enough to know whether or not to agree or to disagree. You know enough. Don't play games with me no more. Like, that's where I am with it. So the people who are just like, well, I kind of understand where everybody coming from. Those are the people who are doing us a disservice.
Yes.
So I hope that answers your question as best I can.
Wonderful New Year.
You too. Enjoy your New Year. Enjoy your night, fam. I appreciate you. Appreciate you for spending your New Year with me and calling in and having a conversation. I appreciate it. I want to try to take a couple more calls. Let's try to move and get through it, fam. Try to keep your calls short, because it's New Year's. I want to try to get as many people in, like, in the next 10 minutes as I can. So give me your resolution. What you think we should be doing as we go forward. And we go try to move through it kind of quick, like 3 or 4 more calls, to get through it. So I'm going to 888. I'm coming to you. What is this? What kind of number is this? Hey, I'm coming to you, 888.
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
My name is Michelle. I'm in Minneapolis. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
So my resolution is for my black people. One, I have about 3 of them. One is I want to see black-on-black jealousy stop.
Uh-oh.
Because I think that that's where a lot of our hating, I think that that's where a lot of things that we go wrong, is that we don't want to see each other grow or have anything. Okay?
I don't think so.
And I look at your podcast. I look at a lot of Black conscious podcasts.
Uh-huh.
And I just see like a lot of infighting, and I'm just real tired of it. I don't think we need to be dragging people's names in the mud.
I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Dr. Boyce has done something.
I don't think anything's wrong with that. I don't think let me just tell you one thing. Does everybody remember that Malcolm X called MLK Uncle Tom? Do we remember that? Do we remember all the fights that James Baldwin had?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
However, he was okay. But the fighting that's going on in the social media, like with you and Dr. Boyce, I feel that like if Dr. Boyce is doing something wrong, it's going to catch up with him. Okay? It just is. I don't feel that we need to always have so much infighting as people. And I'm not saying just from the stand of social media. I'm saying from everything. I'm saying if we have a business, and I'm a businesswoman, Black business would have been one for 30 years, okay? I'm saying from a standpoint of anything that we do, we bring each other down in the mud, okay? And it don't need to happen because things are going to start to.
But here's the thing. I can't bring you down in the mud if you in the mud. Like, I'm just telling everybody that you in the mud. I didn't bring you there. Like, you were there. And see, here's the thing. Pete, what you see, I haven't, and I'm gonna let you finish your comment. I'm not cutting you off for good. You will have a chance to respond. What I'm saying is this.
Okay.
I have an obligation. People, this is a person that I worked with. I have an obligation. My integrity, it's not just him. My integrity is on the line because I work with this person. I have some explaining to do. I have some owning up to do. And if I know somebody is doing wrong and I tried to talk to them behind the scenes and it didn't work, I have an obligation to tell you, listen, that this person is running a con. Now, let me tell you something else. Part of the problem is not, I disagree with you 100%. The problem is not that we have infighting. The problem is that too many people know that somebody's a con, but they don't want to tell everybody else the scam is being run. They just go along with it. Well, you know, that's his thing. He run his thing. No,
Yvette, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you got cons in every race. You got them. My thing is you've been on Dr. Voice now for quite a bit. Now,
I've done three videos. Hold on, I've done 3 videos in 2 years. Like how long has that been on him? Like how long? And then let me just say this. You do have cons. You have Rush Limbaugh called Democrats everything but a child of God. You have white people calling each other out every day and nobody says these people should stop talking about each other. They all white. You have to do it. Somebody got to do it. I don't see nobody else doing it. Who is doing it? Who's calling them out? Like now I see a lot of people.
People on social media talking about Dr. Boy.
Yeah, because I opened that door. I opened that door for everybody else to walk through, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah. You and Paris Milan. She opened the door too.
And it's been some other people too. It's been 2 men, and I won't mention their names, who have come out too, and there are lawsuits too.
Yeah.
So I'm not I don't owe him anything. I owe the community. I don't owe him. I owe you. I owe everybody that might buy this thinking that I'm going to be rich. I have an obligation. I have a special obligation because I work with this person. So I have an added obligation that other people don't even have.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. So now my next thing is we can learn to agree to disagree. And I think you kind of touched on this tonight. As a people, we don't always have to agree with each other.
That's fence sitting.
We can stay on code.
That's fence sitting. You fence sitter. You a fence sitter. You a fence sitter. That's fence sitting. No, like when we disagree, we disagree. There is no agree and disagree. If I say that everything you saying is not supported by the data and it's wrong and it's exploitive of my people, there is no we agree disagree. You are now an enemy to me and everything I believe in and everything that I think is good for black people. And that is what it is. And I draw a line. I draw a very clear line. That's where
we go off cold.
Ain't no code. The enemy is the enemy. You better get your traders first. Listen, didn't we read Denmark Vesey? The reason the revolution got gone was because of the traders. You better get your traders early. You better get them. You better grab your traders up or they will destroy the whole community. We can't have no exploiters here.
I can disagree with somebody but still come on code when I need to come on code for the same common cause.
Why should I come on? What common cause? What common cause do I have with a con artist? What common cause?
I'll give you an example. I don't believe in interracial dating. Okay? I don't think it's pro-black. All right? But you got a lot of people that are out here saying pro-black can be when you interracially date. I don't believe it. All right? Now, I can agree to disagree with that person. But hey, let me tell you, if it comes down to saving a black child's life or standing up and for a cause or giving money to a black-owned business or, just staying on code, living next to the children that need me the most or mentoring black youth or whatever, I can stay on code on that. And what you have now is you have people that are not staying on code.
Ain't no code. Ain't no
disagree.
Okay, we gonna agree to disagree on this call because ain't no code with a person who's exploiting people. And I ain't in a racial dating, so I ain't got nothing to do with what you talking about. But there is no code. There is no.
I'm not saying you.
I'm not. No, I'm just putting it out there. But I'm just saying that there is no code for what you are talking about. When you are exploiting my people, I don't be like, well, I'm gonna ignore that right now because we're gonna talk about something different. I'm gonna ignore that right now. So I gotta get other people in because we have to have other conversations about resolutions instead of you coming here to try to stand up for voice. But what I'm saying to everybody is, listen, we have to start drawing lines. This whole thing is, well, y'all can agree to disagree, but you got to stay on code. We can't say nothing black. Listen, that is the best recipe. That is the best recipe for con artists. Con artists love when you say, I'm going to stay on code. That means I'm not going to really say nothing negative about you. I'm not going to tell nobody that you're doing stuff and it's not beneficial because that's against code. That's how people con our community. Listen, if it had not been for Antonio Moore doing that Jay Morrison video, nobody would have even asked the questions that just should be asked because it's business. Not because you don't get to not ask black questions because it's black business. Our business has to do due diligence. Like, stand on code means that everybody runs around in secret about a person, but nobody tells what it is. Nobody gives anybody the business. And that's where we are. We have to get out of that. You cannot exploit or do anything to black people without us saying that we're going to tell on you. We're going to call you out. We're going to put you up. We're going to put you on Front Street. That's just what we're going to do. We're going to put you out there and let everybody know what it is. Then everybody knows, like, I can't be out there like that. Like, if I'm out there like that, Yvette gonna call me out. I don't want that kind of heat. I don't want that. The Breaking Brown people gonna be on me. I don't want that. That's how you have to build I'm not playing a game here. You have to build a structure and a group of people that are prepared to hold people accountable. Or not everybody just goes around finessing everybody all the time. And then when you say that person is he doing some illegal stuff, then they be like, no, you got to stay on code. A code, when you say that, that's just a recipe for black people to get exploited. And I'm just not with that. Maybe you are. But in the whole conversation that what happened is very different than than just like, well, he's with a white woman or whatever. I can always put, I mean, my last co-host was married to a white woman. I can put all kinds of stuff. That's not I've never come out as like opposed to like regular stuff. Like stuff that just, I can put a whole lot of stuff aside. I can do that. I can absolutely do that. But you cannot put aside having an exploitive like business or whatever. I will not put that aside, and you shouldn't either. 407, I'm coming to you. Everybody, I keep saying let's hit it quick, and then people have whole conversations. Like, I'm trying to get as many people as I am. It's New Year's Eve. I'm really trying, and people want to have whole conversations about staying on code and all kind of stuff. Can we try to get in and get out? Like, can we put our resolution in and, like, come out so everybody can be respectful of everybody who's waiting on the line? The lines are full. I want to be respectful of everybody on the line and try to get them in. Can we do that? Can we be respectful of each other? Is that possible? 407, I'm coming to you. 407, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, it's me, Zarina. We actually met at the Angela Project. I was the 6'2" black woman with the hat on.
Hey, I remember you. How you doing? Yeah, you were tall.
Yeah, I wrote you an email. I hope you got it. But anyway, so one thing, my career is in finance.
Okay.
Specifically real estate finance, and so I see things from a different perspective because I'm one of like maybe 3 black people in my specific niche who are operating on a high level. So one thing I want us as a people to start looking into, and I understand that people are not going to have the same understanding at certain things that I do, but I really want us as a whole to remember and understand that this American empire is in a state of collapse. And we have to remember that they built it on our backs, and they're going to try to save it on our backs. And why I say that is because Ben Bernanke, the former head of the Federal Reserve, did a speech in 2002 at the National Economist Club. And his speech was, hey, here's how we're going to fight deflation. Here's how it's never going to happen. And some of the things that he said in that speech that they have been doing. So he said, oh, no, we'll print more currency. We'll hold interest rates at 0. We'll buy bonds. We'll buy mortgage-backed securities. And there was 2 things up until about 2 years ago that they had not done yet to try to save America in this crazy economy that we have. The first one was tax cut and rebates, and the second was to end deflation by going into hyperinflation, meaning increasing interest rates. Now they've done that, and how they're doing it is saying, oh, here's the tax cut, Mr. Stockbroker. You can now go, and we're going to create something called an opportunity zone.
I heard about
which
that.
is a license for white people to go in and gentrify the slums. And you get a tax cut. We won't even take your capital gains. So you being in the stock market and investing in Google, and now you're worth $400,000, you can take all that $400,000 out, and as long as you're putting that money into the ghetto, we won't tax you on it. So basically, we are being positioned in this country to help, quote unquote, save this economy in the same way that they built it, which is on our backs. So I want us to be very aware that opportunity zones is a license for people to gentrify your neighborhood, period. And if you're not taking your municipalities to task on this, if you're not taking your local politicians to task on this, you are going to be shoved out of your own neighborhood overnight. There is, what's that guy, Scaramucci?
Scaramucci from Trump.
All over, because he's raising $2 billion to put into quote-unquote ghettos. What makes you think that they want you to stay there? They don't want you staying there. So I want people to be, for the New Year's resolution, I want you to look into opportunity zones, because it's not a good thing for black people, and it's not a good thing for this country in general, because after they shove you out of the ghetto, where are you supposed to live? So that's it. That's all I got for you.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciated that, because you know what? Somebody had been in my thank you. Somebody had been in my call. What's it in my? And I put an article in the newsletter about how this was predatory, but somebody had been in my mentions. No, in the YouTube comments talking about how when you gonna talk about how wonderful these opportunity grants are, whatever. And if you go to look at Antonio Moore's video, the last one, the interview, the most recent interview, there's a good exchange about these zones and what they really mean, as opposed to what some people think they mean. I'm going now to 760. I'm coming to you. What's your name, or where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. My name is Marlon from Oceanside.
Hey, what's going on?
I got 2 resolutions.
Okay.
I got one. You had the first top 10 was to be decisive.
Yes.
And then the other one is to understand what a fact is, because a lot of people have a problem with what a fact really is. Like, look, we're in a position that we're already in. You said it all the time you run the show. You got to either say, all right, that is real, or that is fake, and be decisive about it. And like you said, don't fence it. It's either economic genocide, or that's it. The other way is survive or die. And that's all we got. And thanks for having the call.
No, I appreciate it, brother, and I appreciate you being concise. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, like and like one of number 15 on my list is tell me your real story, not your best story. So don't tell me about the day your business began. Tell me about the day it began and the day it folded. Right? Tell me, don't tell me the real story, not just your best story. That's number 15. Number 16 is count the losses. Right? Don't just tell me you invested in this fund. Tell me what you made. Tell me what you lost. Tell me the whole story. We gotta count. We can't just be accountant. We just like to count aspiration. We don't even like to count none of that. So I am going now to 951. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. Ishmael Bartley from Riverside, California. Again, fellow Angela Project attendees.
Hey, what's up?
A couple of just headed into the New Year's and really setting my face like a flint, prepared to do some things different. But specifically regarding resolutions, I think that personally and as a community, we need to outlaw decadence in our community. We need to raise the flag on decadence. And the most glaring example of decadence here recently was the hideous boots that our sister Obama had on. I'm not a fashionista, don't pretend to be, but the $3,900 Farrah whoever boots, white folks dressed her up.
Just say $4,000, brother. Just say $4,000. Them $4,000 boots. Just say $4,000.
But see, the problem is, and shout out to Tone. I think that phrase, the decadent veil, is probably one of the most brilliant phrases in this decade, because those boots mask the failure that she refuses to acknowledge. I'm trying to figure out, where's her husband? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if she that's fine, where's this brother at? When the numbers for black folk continue to tank. You know what I'm saying? They got him on the shelf somewhere. But that wasn't what I called about.
But let me just say this. Let me just say this, fam. Let me just say this. $4,000 boots. The middle black family is worth $1,700, and she walking around.
Yes, ma'am.
She walking around with $4,000 boots. Okay, I got you. Now I'm gonna let you go to the next point. I'm sorry.
But they're positioning those $4,000 boots, and that's becoming the mantra for becoming. And those $4,000, ain't there a bit of reparations in them boots? Ain't no transformative politics in them boots? Ain't no sentence reform in them boots? Ain't no ain't no cure for hookworms. It's the water in Flint still gonna be nasty, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so a whole lot of folks taking the bait. So decadence needs to become the new dog whistle for woke and aware black folks. When you see decadence, you need to put a target on that. You know what I'm saying? And you need to socialize an anti-decadence narrative in your local circle.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you live yes, ma'am.
No, I said yes. I'm agreeing with you. Anti-decadence. I'm with it.
No, if you live in the Nickerson Gardens projects or the hood of in wherever, and somebody pulls up with an old nasty, foul, expensive, they call them goggles or baubles, you know, the trinkets, you know what I'm saying? Here we are living in the midst of slavery and poverty, and you got on a trinket. Folks around here ain't got nothing to eat. Everybody, we fighting over EBT cards, and you got on a trinket, and somehow that has value. We need to socialize. We need to socialize that up out of our circles. You know.
Yeah, and even I don't even care if you got a house, because these houses ain't even real houses. Like when Antonio Moore said, well, they little paper mache houses. Half of us won't even. They don't accrue value. We know the middle black family's worth $1,700. Don't come in here with no $2,000 nothing boot. You better find a good work boot that's gonna last you your life. Don't come in here with no stuff like that. That's not what we talking about. That's not what we doing. We don't have it. That's for the elite who get to express their wealth. These things, these $4,000 boots are expressions of wealth. They are supposed to be expressions of stuff you already have, so you get to have that kind.
Really who have it?
Yeah, we don't got it.
But those boots, as bad as they look on her, decadence looks just that bad on my community, and we're suffering for it. I got one last blurb. I was reacquainted with the term from the early 1900s called race men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my resolution for this year is to be a race man. I'm a race man, it's in the company of Du Bois and Paul Roberson and John Mitchell, the men who stand up for the race. And the last speech Dr. King made, when he said, "I may not get there with you," you know what I'm saying? I've already decided that there's some folks that look like me that I'm willing to go to jail for. I've already decided that there are some opportunities that I'm just going to nail to the cross and may not get, because I'm going to open my mouth and champion causes for justice. It's in my DNA now. My mind is broken. I can't come back. I've crossed over, and so I'm just trying to encourage some folks to cross over with me. Because there was an old gentleman. I was watching the video, and I'm saying this and I'm done. He was talking about the nature of a race man, and he said we put black people first, and we're concerned about the interests of black people first. He said not only. Now, we're not only concerned about ours, but we put ours first, because as functioning members of the human family, we have to intersect and cross over at times, but we have no point in drawing lines in the sand and prioritizing our own. God bless you, sis.
Oh, thank you, brother. You said a word. Oh, you need to go to the. Oh, you said a word today. I appreciate it, brother. You really did it today. You knocked it out the park. Oh my goodness. Oh, we might be coming to our last call. Let's see what we got. What's going on, 202? You a race man, 202? You a race man?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm the last call? Oh, my God.
I think you might be. It depends on what you say. Is you a race man or you ain't? I love the last call.
Hey, man, that brother was on it, man. Y'all hit on so many. Oh, man, y'all dang near about stole my thunder. Y'all hit everything.
Oh, he was killing it.
Yeah. He that decadent, man. He hit that thing. But no, what I was gonna say, I think what he was getting at about Michelle, dude, that was actually one of my first points, is that, and I don't know if you really touched on this, Yvette, but one of the things I think black people are going to need to do for next year, and it really needs to be a bullet point forever going forward, we need to, and I don't know if you really hit on this, but we need to divest of black celebrity.
We've always talked about that. Not tonight, but we've always talked about black celebrity got to go.
Yeah, you got to divest of that, because when you're looking at Michelle Booty, you ain't doing nothing but looking in the mirror, because you are the shoes that she wore to get to those boots. That's all. I mean, who you saw in 2008 was alive. Who you saw in today, that's the truth. So when she came in office, she was the J.C. Crew first lady. Now, Versace and all these other stuff I can't pronounce. But you need to realize that Michelle Obama's shoes ain't no different than a rapper's bling. Ain't no different than John Gray buying his wife a, what was that? He bought that Lamborghini.
Oh, you know,
$200,000. But and so you're not gonna get many black people who can afford that or put you up in the castle. A black man put you in the castle like Meghan Markle. Not understanding that she married into the family that invented white supremacy. So if you are heavily vested in that celebrity, then you're not going to see the forest for the trees. So that was my first thing to divest from black celebrity. The second thing is that you're going to have to really. You're going to have to look at people's empathy resume. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of people want to give you advice. Few people want to actually open doors. Ooh. And so you need to look, when you are taking advice from people, when you're watching somebody on TV, whoever it is, if you can't identify 5 to 10 people that they have personally helped, that they are person that I can pick up the phone and call, and these people will say they are where they are because this person helped them, and you know they really have lived their life as selfish creatures, and they are not to be listened to. That's the second thing. So you want to really, screen people in your life in terms of some type of empathy narrative around helping DOS. Third thing I'll say is abandon the idea that working hard will get you anywhere. Now, this is very controversial. So, you remember when the Jews were pulling up to? You remember when the Jews, when they had them on the train, pulling them up to the concentration camps in Auschwitz and Birkenau, and over the awning of, the concentration camps was in German Arbeit frei, and the translation of that was hard work will set you free. And so it was actually a kind of sick twist, because the hard work there was not going to get you anywhere but to the grave. And when you ask where did hard work get slaves, it didn't get them anywhere. Hard work never got anybody well. What got somebody somewhere is somebody giving you an opportunity. So if you take up the former perspective of hard work, that's one of arrogance. Then you'll get there and say, you're a bootstrapper. You'll say, I'm here because of me. I'm here because of what I did. And I. Listen very closely when you listen to people talk. I. Are they building a narrative about what they did, or are they building a narrative about what the collective community did for them? And that's very important. The next thing I'll say is examine your desires and your inner emotions all the time. And this is very important. Dr. Amos Wilson, black sociologist and psychologist, said the nature of white supremacy and capitalism is to create a sense of desire in its oppressed. Yep. And so what are your desires? What are your desires? What are you desiring? Are you desiring to participate in capitalism to the degree where you buy everything? Do you want Michelle Obama's boots because you saw her with them on? Do you want your man to get you a Lamborghini because you saw John Gray? Like, what is the desire that is going on inside of you? You need to always be mindful of that, because only Only when you recognize that can you perform the corrective measure to your internal compass to get you back on road. So you need to always know what's going on inside of you. The next thing is, I would be, when you're listening to anybody, and I want you to listen very closely when Yvette is talking. Yvette and Tone I have never, at least in my listening to them and talking to them, if you listen to what they're saying, they are always focused on the systems of oppression versus the individuals that are living under it. And I want you to always pay attention, whether it's Oprah, whoever talking, are they talking about individuals or are they talking about systems? If they're talking about individuals, that lets you know and that signals to you that they believe in bootstrapology. They don't understand that what is happening to American descendants of slaves is not their fault. It's a consequence of the systematic white supremacy that has been inbred into this country. So you want to listen to whether people are talking about individuals or whether they're talking about systems. And if their solutions are rooted in individuals, then you know they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they're cowards, because it's much easy to talk to individuals. It's much harder to talk about what systems are doing. Individuals are easy targets. Systems are not.
No.
And then the last thing I bring you to, and this is the controversial one. This is the most controversial. And the only way I can describe it is in the Italian, La Chiate ogni speranza voi contrate. And the translation means abandon all hope, ye who enters here. Hope is the drug sold by a lot of preachers to have you focused on tomorrow and not today. So if somebody ever sells you a solution of hope, you know we've been down this road before. Mr. President Obama, sold us on hope and change. Whenever people are talking to you about hope, they're talking to you about the intangible. They're talking to you about the unquantifiable. Beware, people. Any conversation people have with you, it must be quantifiable. It must be quantifiable. And so the hope becomes the aspirational non-existence for a solution they do not have. They do not have. We need people who can articulate to us a solution, a competent solution, a real narrative about what we can do right here, right now. Not running on the if you just hope and then things can get better. No. Dr. King said it's all right to talk about land flowing with milk and honey, but ultimately people need some suits and dresses and shoes to wear down here. They need something to eat. So there has to be tangible things right now. And when you have people giving great speeches, it often becomes the fallback freestyle for them in a conversation about solutions. And I just think you need to be very mindful of when somebody is selling you down that road. Once a person starts talking about hope, then the drug effect starts to take place, and a lot of people get hypnotized by it, and they get focused on all these great things that can happen in the future. And this is how Jesus has become neutered. He's become neutered because it has been this misinterpretation theologically that Jesus was eternally focused on the hope of tomorrow versus the possibilities of today. And anytime you have people that don't want to have that conversation, then I think they're no different than the pimp and the prostitute. And they're serving you up on a platter. And so I just wanted to leave you guys with that. And Yvette, you have been a blessing to this community and to me.
As have you, Alexander.
And I want to say this, y'all. Y'all have a genuine gift in this woman. Y'all have a genuine gift, real talk. I run across a lot of people who are taking advantage of our people. But I'm telling you, Yvette, blood, sweat, and tears for this community, and I think that she's done a great job in creating a community of the world she wants to see. And we're gonna keep on fighting right into 2019, y'all. Right into 2019.
Thank you, Alexander. And I want to say, like I was saying while you were talking, I think you have been a gift to this world too, in terms of the conversations and the fire that we're gifted through Alexander all the time here, and we appreciate you. The Breaking Brown family appreciate you.
Let me say one more thing, because I felt compelled to address this. A lot of people, I saw a few comments. I asked Yvette, somebody said last week, they said, somebody said, that old Alexander Hamilton, I think he a drunk calling in. Here's something y'all need to realize. I don't drink.
No, he don't drink.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do nothing. Y'all ask me why I laugh. Let me ask you something. Let me be real clear about this. What does it say if you associate laughter and the ability to be free with alcohol and drugs,
yeah.
versus a person just having that in their personality? I just want to be, what you're hearing from me is the freedom. It's a freedom that most people do not have. They do not have it. Because when we're on these stages every day, we're not able to be who we want to be. I don't believe no Negro can afford to be in the influence too long in a society that's ripping black people apart. So I have to laugh to keep from crying. And I just want to tell y'all that. Don't ever think because I'm laughing I'm not being serious. Oh, I'm deadly serious. I'm deadly serious. And let me tell you something. Yvette, how many pictures can we look at of black people getting lynched and white people in the background laughing, Yvette? They in the background laughing and smiling and everything else. But they serious as a heart attack about that noose around that black man's neck that's hanging from that tree. So just like you see that, I am deadly serious when I am talking on this phone. I am deadly serious, but I have to laugh to keep from crying because I understand that life may not be the party I wish for, but while we here, Yvette, we might as well dance. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Alexander. I appreciate it. And I can attest to, I've talked to Alexander in person. I've talked to Alexander offline. He's a teetotaler. Like, you know, he's decided like for now in his life to like alcohol is something he's gonna touch. So it was funny to me when I think I said that in the chat when somebody was like, I think Alexander's drunk. I was like, Alexander don't drink. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, fam, in terms of what Alexander said about material, you know, like he said, like, what is the tangible benefit? That's what whenever you hear me say material benefit, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what is the tangible outcome for American DOS people? What is the tangible outcome for us? And I think we have to be. We've been made into this race. We didn't ask for it, but that's what we are. When we're made into this race, we have to ask what is best for us. We all have to become like race people. You made us a race. We can't be running around here trying to do everything for everybody. So I think he has it right. And you have to be wary of people who are pushing desire. I didn't know. I was watching. I go down rabbit holes on the internet because I do a lot of black politics and searching for black shows, and I watch American DOS people all over line. They put stuff on the internet on YouTube for me to click on, and I got to click on. I didn't know Complex does this thing where they have people shop for sneakers. Like they have a bunch of people shop. They have people go and they have these sneakers, these old sneakers, which are apparently. Who knew? I didn't. Like, they're originals or whatever. So they cost $1,000. They have all the people that you like, these celebrities in here, which is really just a commercial for sneakers. And I'm just like, I did not know. I did not know. I saw such madness this weekend. Because when I go down rabbit holes, I get kind of obsessed for like 30 minutes. So I saw Chris Brown sneakers. And I'm like, nobody sees the dysfunction in all of this. Like, are we not seeing how this whole apparatus is set up to just keep us consuming? Because like they've made everything relatively like not as expensive as it used to be, so you can get enough, right? So what happens when you have enough? Well, we just got to create a reason for you to have more. Let's go get the old sneaker. Now we know the design on the new sneaker is much better, but let's create a desire that says this old sneaker is better. And you're going to be running around and looking at celebrities. Oh, I think I like that one too. You have to beware. If you want, if you want one of my last things, beware of anybody whose job it is to make you desire stuff that you have to purchase. Now, if someone makes you desire to be fully a citizen, if someone makes you desire meaning in your life, if someone makes you desire a better relationship with your kids or with your spouse, Wonderful. Be very wary, though, of people who want to make you desire a consumer good. That person means no goodwill for you, and they're working for capital. And you know who capital is? It's not us. And the last thing, my last number 17 of the stuff that our resolution is, we're right. Listen, American DOS. Listen, Breaking Brown family. We are right. We've been doing this long enough. People have had enough time to disprove us. Nobody has disproven. People have tried. You can go back and look at the old videos, and you can see that, like, as it comes around, we have been right. Now, I'm not saying everything we said is perfect or whatever. Like, and I have owned anything that I've said that I have been like, well, that wasn't quite right. I've owned it. I don't have no problem with that. I have no problem being wrong. But the problem is, in terms of what we got to go and what we got to do, family, we've been right the whole time. And, like, people going to eventually have to start owning the fact that these Negroes over here, regardless of how I feel about them, they right. And they've been right. And so you need to walk with that. I don't care who feels a certain way, who's upset with you, who don't like you, fam. We are right. And we've been right for a minute. We've been right for a minute. So don't you feel no kind of way. We right. We own this thing. And we gotta, and you might be a little bit lonely sometimes as you wait for everybody else to catch up to where we are. That's okay. We right, and we family right in here together. So lastly, before I go, fam, the book, it'll be, this book is longer, so we're not going to do it like, we're not going to do it in February. Black History Month, you'll be reading the book, we just won't be talking about it in February. We're not going to talk about this book. I had originally set the date for all book clubs to be the last Thursday of the month, right? Whatever month we're going to have it. But the last Thursday, we're going to do this one in March, and the last Thursday in March is like the day before my birthday. Aries, rock. But that's the last, so I don't want to do it. So we're going to do it on the March the 21st. March the 21st, we're going to do our next book. March the 21st. So mark it on your calendar. March 2-1. Mark that down. And we're going to do American Slavery, American Freedom by Edmund S. Morgan. American Slavery, American Freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our next book. Now, I don't want to hear no complaining from those of you who say that, like, I ain't have enough time, but I just saw this and I didn't know. I'm gonna be promoting this up until March 21st. So you got this, is to understand that we were about to head into January. It's December 29th. It's about to be January 1. I'll let y'all get off before New Year come in so you can go kiss your baby or whatever you got to do. But understand that you have almost, basically, like, we got all of February, and then we got 21 days in March. So there should be enough time to get through this book. And that's what it is, fam. American Slavery, American Freedom. That's what we're gonna be reading. That's the next book club. So, you know, just for those of you, somebody said, oh, it's so depressing. No. You can't look at it that way. You can't internalize it that way. This is a journey, fam. The end is not yet written. This is a journey. And we have been very resilient people. We have a lot to be proud of. Like, there's nothing depressing in terms of how this is. Y'all got to calm down. And I need, like, in terms of what has to happen, before I go off, some of you all need to deal with your emotional state and the way you internalize things. Like, psychologically, you have to deal with how you internalize things is kind of you get to kind of control how you frame this. You got to get better at that. Don't let this life beat you down. Somebody say, Yvette, I know you be depressed all the time. No, I'm happy. I know the things. I have a formula. I know what makes me happy. I'm not walking around sad. Are you good? So this is the next book, fam. This is what we'll be reading. And Happy New Year. Please go and drink some more libation if you don't have to be to work tomorrow. Please go and take care of yourself. Kiss your spouse, husband, whoever, whatever, wife, significant other, your babies, your mama, girl. Do whatever. Enjoy yourself, fam. Happy New Year. We have had a fruitful year. We have had some fruitful discussions. We have had fruitful episodes. We have talked about everything. We have debated. We discussed. We have done all of that, and we have done well. We have had a fruitful time. We have had a more fruitful time than just about anybody on YouTube in terms of black people. We have really put in work. And I say we because we, not me. We have put in work in the chat. Thank you to the mods. Please give the moderators a big round of applause. Show them some love. They have really been in here. Some of them are missing tonight. They out there on them libations, but I love them anyway because all of them have been good. But Carl, you a gangster. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, family, for like helping create what has become more than like a show. It has become a community. So I thank you. I appreciate you. And we back at it. We back at it on Wednesday. That's what we do. Monday, Wednesday, 9:30. That's what we do. So thank you, fam, and I see you soon. Happy New Year.